All right.
Thank
Thank you very much.
And we are back, I think. So I apologize if we are getting a breakdown, but live radio is an interesting thing. So from our break, we were talking about Patricia Smith, and apparently Donald Trump chose to call into an interview while Patricia Smith, the mother of one of the Americans killed during the Benghazi attacks, called into Fox News to conduct a live interview. But also one of the news items in the world of stepping on a message was Paul Manafort speaking out against Governor Kasich not endorsing Donald Trump. So the exact... Manafort referred to Kasich as being petulant for refusing to support Trump. He's embarrassing his party in Ohio, Manafort said. Negotiations broke down because Weaver thinks that John Kasich will have a better chance of being president by not supporting Trump. Bob Hines, what's going on here?
I haven't the foggiest idea. I don't see how that parses. But, you know, Kasich he is a little bit of a lone wolf politically. He's not exactly a party guy and step in line and everything else. He's always been a little bit weird.
So, but Kasich being a little weird, but also being the wildly popular governor of Ohio.
Hugely.
He easily won the Ohio primary and easily won re-election. And I don't know, is he term limited in Ohio?
Not that I don't think
so. He could actually easily run for a third term.
Oh, yeah.
But so in the world of inside baseball, just talking about politics and messaging, Alan Moore, how does this help the Republicans, since you can't... Traditionally, Republicans can't win the presidency without winning Ohio. How does this help?
Well, as at the top of the show, I was talking about what a bad day and a half Paul Manafort had, and I started by pointing out that he had trashed John Kasich yesterday in Ohio for not showing up at the convention, and that it's harmful to Ohio, and it offends Ohioans. And that's not what a Republican candidate wants to do. Manafort should have shut up. If he's asked about it, he can say, you know, we know he's a busy guy. We hope there's still several days. We hope he comes. We'd love his support. End of story. But no. And it sounded like Manafort was channeling Trump. Mm-hmm. That's not a good thing. When you hang around that guy, if his ugliness and hot-headedness starts to rub off on you,
you're in trouble.
Go get in a cold shower. Realize you're getting the Trump fever, and you don't want to have that. So there's no possible, conceivable benefit. But until. Until Manafort started walking around in the Melania Trump plagiarism muck, his problem of the last 2 days was what he said about Kasich, and then that got dwarfed by the getting himself in the middle of the Trump thing, rather than saying obviously there was some breakdown in the system. We're going to figure that out. It's too bad that 58 words took away from a very nice, high-quality speech that was enormously, wonderfully well received. And I hope that I encourage the press to look at the rest of the speech and not just focus.
Well, and the words at issue are not objectionable.
No.
And in fact, they're kind of common sense kind of things, and.
Somebody put them in front of her. She said, yes, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the exact words that were put in front of her were lifted verbatim and then modified here and there ever so slightly. And you don't do that anymore.
No.
But continuing the question of just the political messaging, so even as a Democrat, but as the inside baseball, the messaging that they were trying to get through, make America safe again, but so many breakdowns. So the Melania thing was a gaffe and a screw-up, but something that was preventable. But the yelling at Kasich and then the various different issues of the speakers going off script once they were off stage, or even the lieutenant general whose name is escaping me, Lieutenant General Flynn, who repeatedly was encouraging the crowd to start, I believe it was a USA chant, or how does that help? I mean, if you were scripting this, Congressman Al, putting on so that you were channeling your inner Republican earlier. So I mean, you have a history in broadcasting as well, even before politics. So how would you balance that, or like, would this be how you would have scripted a Republican convention?
Well, this is not the way any sane person would have scripted a convention, which suggests, I guess now I'm even questioning Trump's sanity. And that's, he's clearly sane. He's just crazy. People have been running national political conventions for a long, long time. There's all kinds of patterns to follow, and they're not following any of them. They are doing virtually everything wrong, and it's their own damn fault, you know. And they're going to. I don't know how big a penalty they're going to pay, because people don't get involved in inside politics. But it's not going to help them.
Well, Bob Hines, if Donald Trump is your product running for president, how would you package him for their convention?
Get somebody else.
That's my answer too. I don't think Mr. Trump is exactly the kind of a person who is really suited to be president of the United States.
Alan Moore.
Well, third parties don't package Donald Trump. Donald Trump packages Donald Trump, and what he's slowly learning is that a general campaign, a general election campaign, is different from a primary.
Well, is he learning that? That's the question.
I don't know if he is or not. He's not learning it as fast as most people thought he would, or as he needs to. So I think he is learning it. Whether he's figuring out what to do or not remains to be seen. He's made a little progress, but it seems like every time he makes a step forward in, for example, not going off script, using a script, using teleprompters, he departs from the script for a moment and then steps into something. He finds it. He seems to be constitutionally incapable of A, acknowledging a mistake, or B, ever apologizing. And that's not a good thing. I guess it has perhaps served him well in his own life. One can't deny his success, whatever success he has had, and it is almost certainly not as much success as he claims. It's still significant success by virtually any normal measure. So he's 69, 70 years old now, and it's pretty darn hard to convince him that he's messed up. He's that old. He's got a lot of money. He lives very, very well. He's got four seemingly fairly normal children. So that speaks well of somebody's role, maybe the wives. I don't know, and I don't think.
No, he credits his wives for raising the kids.
But I think he hasn't been a horrible dad. It's just that he's and just having children and having a wife and then another one and then another one. You learn things in life, and so as Al said, he's is he insane? No. Is he crazy in some ways? I don't know. He's not our cup of tea. I think what we worry about is his temperament, which we've seen over and over again is problematic. And you wonder if you're dealing. America's pretty forgiving. people say crazy stuff, and other Americans shake their head, shake their fist, shake their middle finger, or just shake their insides laughing. But they don't get all distressed. International incidents aren't created. But when you start dealing with other cultures and people around the world, and you say off the wall, highly provocative stuff, it's dangerous in an international context. And I'm not saying that we brush off his racist remarks, his bigoted remarks. As we know, I've been hesitant to call him a racist or a bigot. I will call him out on comments he makes that seem to me to be racist or bigoted or ignorant or insensitive. And you add it up and up and up and up and up, and you say, we got a problem here. There's a problem with this man's temperament. Why are we considering him to be president? Well, because there's a bunch of people in this country, especially in the Republican Party, who like that, who say that they like the refreshing nature of somebody calling it as he sees them, who needs to be politically correct in their judgment.
Tea Party.
Whereas the rest of us, well, the Tea Party is. We've talked about this before. It's not like one group of thought, one organization. Different states had different parties. It's this undercurrent of anger, of resentment, of racism, of bigotry, of sexism, of class anger, and it's more pervasive when you add it all up than any of us would like to acknowledge. And he has tapped into that. It has propelled him to the position he's now in, but more than half the Republicans aren't that fond of him, and
But he's comfortable. He's comfortable in it.
He's what?
He's comfortable in it. That's what's scary.
He's the winner so far. He's going to be the candidate.
Hal Swift.
Well,
That's a terrible thought, but it's true.
we've discussed this in the past. I think that many people who are supporting Donald Trump and kind of like the way he's approaching it, I think our education comes, or the lack of education comes in here. I think if you take most of the Republicans who are not supporting Donald Trump or who are unhappy with him are the more educated ones in general.
Yeah, that's a fair statement.
And it's because it seems to me that as you get some education, you begin to understand a little bit about logic, not the formal forms of logic, but you put things together and say these don't make sense, so you try to find some other ways, and you're more likely to forgive and reinterpret. And the reason I throw the Tea Party in is that the Tea Party came into it profoundly ignorant of how government functioned and what it could do and what it could accomplish. And I think they led the way to where we are today as far as the Republican Party and the conservative movement is dealing with it. And a lot of what I call the true conservatives are as uncomfortable as everybody else with kind of a mindless, angry approach to things.
Well, moving on to the folks who are going to be speaking today, some of the more traditional Republican leadership, both Mitch McConnell, the Senate Majority Leader, and Speaker Paul Ryan are also going to be speaking later today. But I want to rattle off a couple other people that are going to be speaking, because I'm looking on the Politico list of speakers for the Republican Convention. One of which is Natalie Goldbris, a professional golfer. I'm interested in seeing what she speaks about. The Honorable Kevin McCarthy, the House Majority Leader. Chris Christie, the bridesmaid to Mike Pence for the VP position. I'm sure he's not bitter in the least. But then what Donald Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., is speaking.